really confident sending him out here.
Yeah, I mean, it does make a lot of sense. It's just really scary if they end up losing in here. And that's another reason why some of these big-name players, the ones that are good all-around players, are the ones that normally you see, at least in the All-Co format in the GSTL, what we've seen, is they usually get sent out last and not early like this. Because can Parting really be your closing player, or can he be a good third player if you go down like this, 0-2, if you end up losing SoulKey, because Zest just ends up picking him for any reason, a number of reasons. That's a scary place to be. But you know what? I think SoulKey can definitely take this, and I don't think this is a bad pick. It's just a pick that's a lot. It's a very huge investment for SKT to put him out second like this.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing this says to me is that they have a ton of confidence in this guy. Like you said, maybe you want to save him for later, but they're like, okay, no, I think sending you out second here, I have a lot of confidence that you can take this.
For sure. After watching that last game, he might be able to just think, all I have to do is defend. We're going to our second map, which is Bel'Shir-Vestige, not wasting any time.
LTA는 SK텔레콤.
Up here in the top left, again for KT Rolster, the red Protoss, it is Zest.
To the bottom right, in blue, it's SoulKey, Mechanic Slayer from yesterday. Very, he's already famous alone for just being one of the best Zerg players in the world. But after his game against Reality yesterday, I feel like a lot more people know about him and know about how good he is. More pizza again today. And if you're not here, I'm sorry you missed it.
Yeah, if you guys are here in Korea and you're not down here at the studio, make sure you come down here. If you can't make it today, make sure you're here for the next rounds because we've had so many awesome games. It's always a ton of fun over here. Sometimes you get pizza. We've seen some, I think, donuts one time. Yeah. Krispy Kreme as well. And
sometimes.
Even besides the food, just awesome StarCraft games. And the atmosphere of watching a game in the studio is totally different from watching it at home alone. You get the hype of the fans. You get the Korean casters going out to the studio. You get us up here, You just get, it's a totally different experience. And if you haven't done it, make sure you do it. If you have done it, do it again.
Yeah, for sure. We have a Forge first here, which is already going to be scouted because SoulKey does not mess around with his scouts. So this is not going to do anything except force the pool first response. And the drone, of course, is going to be annoying here as well. We've seen this happen a lot with SoulKey and his ZVPs, where he just sends that drone scout out to be safe, denies the nexus. The probe even comes down, loses mining time because he wants to start fighting that drone right away, so that when it's time to make his nexus, he doesn't have to start from that base location fighting him. SoulKey losing a lot of hit points here. 2 more zaps will do it.
That was pretty close. I saw he had it selected, and he was definitely watching it, so he was very cognizant of the fact that he was taking a lot of damage, but that was very scary.
Yeah,
still.
Indeed. This base is slightly annoyed as well, or harassed by the probe.
That base is so annoyed, man. He didn't get a lot of sleep. He dropped coffee all over his suit this morning.
He is so annoyed, that base. Well, this probe is going to actually continue to be annoying and deny mining at the close patch until he did finally snatch that mineral patch. At the very least, he's going to be able to take 5 minerals home. We'll also probably stick around a little bit to see if a third base is moved very quickly, or if SoulKey's going to stay on 2 base a little bit longer.
Yeah, we do have a cannon being made at the front, just being very safe here. With that Forge first opening, you do not get as fast of a gateway, you don't get as fast of a Cybernetics core, which leads into tech. Everything comes a little bit slower, but you can always get that cannon up and be a bit safe. Here we do have a third base pretty fast here for SoulKey. I think he did this the other day as well on Bel'Shir-Vestige. Just yesterday, he took a pretty quick third base.
Yeah, he did, in fact. And it's pretty common against Forge expands to take a fast third because the gateway research, the warp gate research, and also any sort of tech you can get after the Cybernetics core is completed is going to be so delayed by that Forge. The Forge is there defensively to be able to make cannons. It's part of your wall. But if you happen to have your opponent go for a greedy build, the Forge is also there to punish that. So You know, unless we're talking about Frost, in which case you can hide a cannon behind 2 pylons and a totally different story happens. But as it is, you know, SoulKey can feel pretty confident with how he's been able to get this opening, because he did just drop the pool first. He has a fast third. And he knows that the warp gate tech is delayed, and all of this is just because he's able to send out that drone scout, and that's why that drone scout is so important to his builds.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it time and time again. SoulKey is the one Zerg player who's very consistent at almost every single game. He always sends out that drone scout, and even though you lose a little bit of mining, you get the information. You saw the forge right away. You can harass some probes. You can block the Nexus. There's just a lot you can do with it, and SoulKey always loves to make that trade.
Yeah. Indeed he does. And Stargate is the tech choice for Zest, as you might expect. It's pretty common these days, coming out of Pros players against Zerg. It's the go-to build right now. And it's most likely he will go Phoenixes, although since the Stargate hasn't been started, he could go another way. He is going to be Phoenixes, though, on the other hand, so see how much damage he gets done here. It's not the fastest Phoenixes because of that warp gate research, but he can compensate for this. And by warp gate research, I mean cybernetics core. You get those. I keep getting those 2 mixed up today. I'm like dropping the ball. Because of the late cybernetics core, he's going to try to compensate, it looks like, by trying to get a +1 research up pretty quickly on his forge. And he might even go for some +1 Phoenix pressure at the third base.
Yeah, could definitely go for that. We see SoulKey so far taking no gas. He's just droning up hardcore. You know, he's taken this time period where he knows that Zest is a little bit behind in tech, and he's using it to his advantage. He's going to get those spore crawlers as late as possible, get as many drones as possible, and get the advantage in economy from the early game, and try to go from there. If he can hold off the Phoenix pressure, not lose too much, he'll be in a very good spot going into the mid game.
Yeah, he definitely will. And I mean, he's already got spore crawlers coming up right now. He's adding all of his gases. He's got additional queens. Robotics is coming up for Zest, of course, indicating that he's very ready to transition out of this. And the question is, does he have any forward warping points? I don't think he was able to secure any pylons on the map. And the +1 and those 3 gateways are going to line up together pretty nicely. But without a warping point, it's not going to be very important. You know, it's not going to be actually done. Here comes the harassment.
Just picking off the 3 probes, it looks like, so far. He has only 3 Phoenixes, so he's going to back off right before that spore crawler gets made. Another one coming across, and I see a 5th one being made as well. +1 is about to finish, like you mentioned, these 3 gateways as well. There's still no forward warping points, so probably just going to try to boost his army up a bit from here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's starting his robotic support base so he can start production of Colossi. And the Roach Warren has started here for SoulKey, so he's just finished that now, and he's ready to transition into those roaches if there's a push coming his way, which he was able to poke around with his early and see the +1 was coming, so he knows that something like that might come. And this is Zest's way of just saying, okay, I'm going to take a safe third behind this. I still have that +1 to bank on later. I'm going to have my Twilight Council and get +2. In this case, he's going to get the +1 armor a little bit faster instead, which I really like, and he's even going to try to pick off an Overlord.
Yeah, looks like he might get it with the positioning of the spore crawlers. He's going to get 1. And the nice transfuse goes down. Is he going to get the second one? Yes, he is. He's going to back off, doing a decent amount of damage with these Phoenixes. Keeping map control, keeping SoulKey back, and worried. Here we have SoulKey going for Spire and an Infestation Pit at the same time.
Yeah, and this group of Phoenixes is just back here being annoying and just kind of hanging around, making sure that he's always on his toes with his Overlords, for example. If he needs his Overlords rally, even doing little things like this, picking off a drone here or there. Because even though there's a Queen there and 2 Spore Crawlers, there's this many Phoenixes, you could just ignore that as long as you micro them well.
Yeah, you have the Phoenixes, you have the shields, you're able to go and take a bit of damage. Even if you do take some health damage, you're still doing damage to the actual units of SoulKey. Take away a lot of that economy. And he also gets a lot of map control. He's going to come over here, maybe pick off a couple of these roaches who get a little too far away from the base to deserve.
Yep, I mean, any roach he gets is minerals and a little bit of gas loss for SoulKey. It really also keeps the third base somewhat protected because the roaches, when they move across the map, are just going to be slowed down by this. I mean, he's committed a lot of Zerlings with his roaches as well to this type of push. There's only 1 cannon up right now. The first Colossus is just, just out. The second one about to pop. The switch into Meatless may catch Zest off guard, though.
Yeah, may definitely catch him off guard. He only has 1 Stargate so far. He only has 5 Phoenixes. so far, SoulKey only going for 5 mutas and those 4 corruptors to protect them, as well as for those Colossi.
Yeah.
Here I think we have some maybe KT company members.
Or possibly family members or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Of Zest, but those, I actually don't know who those people are, to be honest with you.
We're just making guesses down here.
They seem like really good people, though. They seem
Yeah,
to
I'm
be
sure
very well
they lead great lives. They donate to charity. They own a pet or two.
They may have. But as it is, we have, you know, Swarm Host as the transition actually instead of Mutalis. But he's also getting the +1 melee for his Zerling. So he's going to basically have the ability to use all sorts of different types of techs. And he's basically faked Zest out right now. Zest is getting more Phoenixes. He starts +1 to air, starts a second Stargate and a Fleet Beacon. So he's totally falling for this. And then when the Swarm Hosts come out, he's not going to have the Colossus count that he would really like to have.
Yeah, this is going to be a problem. SoulKey doing a great job here. This is a great fake out. I love what he's doing. And SoulKey loves to do this. He has the minerals and the gas to do this because he was powering up so much early on. And Zest wasn't really able to get too much besides a bunch of the drones. He even forces this overcharge of the Nexus as well.
Yep, dropping that cannon down, and we'll see how long he actually falls for this. You know, is he gonna continue? He finishes the Fleet Beacon. He's restarted Colossus production. He must have sent a hallucinated Phoenix Scout to confirm, or he's got just a read on the situation. The +1 is going to be useful for him no matter what, because it's useful for both Phoenixes and also Void Rays, which he does start, which leads me to believe he's started to realize this is just a ruse that SoulKey is trying to put on here.
Yeah, I mean, Zest is really good with those hallucinated Phoenix. I think he did send one over there, and he must have spotted something, maybe a Swarm was coming out or the infestation pit, gotten some kind of smell, maybe didn't see any more mutas coming out. He was able to tell, so he goes back into those Colossi and Void Rays. More nice harass out of Zest, able to come to the 4th base, take out a bunch more of these drones.
+1 range attack is now on the way for Roaches, Hydras, and also the Swarm Host, the Locust. He's getting the +1 Carapace. He's been getting that for a while. It's nearly done now. Starting +2 Carapace as well to make the Locust so much more frustrating to deal with because it lasts so long. This little poke out here by Zest is way overzealous, I feel. I don't think he's going to be able to get a lot done here. Now desperately trying to micro back. Way too many Swarm Hosts, and he is getting crushed by SoulKey right now.
Oh yeah, he's getting crushed big time. A lot of his Colossi going down. The Phoenix is trying to come in and help, but with so many Corruptors, it doesn't matter. The Void Rays too, getting a little bit too close. These Corruptors are going to be able to take them out as well.
Yeah, I mean, he just has enough Queens for transfuses even to keep these Corruptors alive. Now the Roach is starting to fight the Stalkers, and the Corruptors just ignoring them. The Swarmos have even moved forward during all of this. +3 is now started for Zest, so he has that going for him. But he's lost half of his army, really, which is something he can't really afford to replace very quickly because he hasn't added those extra gateways yet, right? He doesn't have a second robotics, and you know, as a Protoss player, you can't remake armies as quickly as a Zerg player can remake theirs, and a Zerg player who's trading Swarm Hosts and Locusts against your army is going to be very happy with this type of trade.
Yeah, losing all of those Colossi and a bunch of those Phoenixes as well as the Void Rays, it's just too many expensive units out of the Protoss that he's going to lose. What did SoulKey lose, really? Maybe a couple of the, a couple of Roaches as well as Zerglings, maybe some Corruptors, but it doesn't matter. He still has all of his Swarm Hosts. He's getting his Hive now. He's probably going to go for Vipers. He's going to be in a really good spot here. He has 4 bases pumping easily. Whereas Zest, he was struggling to try to take a pretty decently fast 4th base when he didn't really have the, the power behind him.
Yeah, I mean, it's gone now. And now he's stuck on 3 bases against Swarm Hosts. He's trying to find a way to afford making double Colossi while adding those Void Rays in. And it's just very expensive for him. He's putting a lot of Zealot pressure on, but with the static defense, it doesn't matter. He's going to lose the Warp Prism now, it looks like. Good micro here by SoulKey, stutter stepping against that.
Yeah, SoulKey is just on top of Zest right now. It was a very good move out there by SoulKey, not so much by Zest to get caught before. And now Zest looks like he's just trying to do whatever he possibly can to try to get back in this game. Go for those Zealot run-bys. No, SoulKey is right there to defend it. Go with the War Prism into the back. No, SoulKey catches it off guard with Corruptors, and now SoulKey just looking so good, getting even more upgrades. He's maxed out, starting to build that bank. And Zest, he's trying to go for these run-bys again. I'm not sure how well that's going to go.
I mean, there's just so much static defense for SoulKey. He's realized that this is the kind of playstyle that has given so many Zerg players problems recently. And if you have the lead that he has, because you're building a composition that relies off of spawning free units, you have extra minerals, and you can make a ton of spines and spores with all your bases, like this. And then the Zealots, yeah, they may eventually break through, but he's not trading very cost efficiently, and you can come back to defend it. Again, over here at his base at the 9 o'clock, he has a ton of spines up. The Zealots are actually starting to overwhelm him on the other hand, though. He is going to have to start to respond to this.
Yeah, the thing is, those static defense buy you a lot of time. SoulKey taking as much time as possible, taking out the fourth base of Zest before coming all the way back and taking out those Zealots. He hasn't lost much. He did lose a bunch of the Queens, though, so that's going to hurt his larva production a bit.
Yeah, losing some Queens, losing some drones in the form of rebate spine crawlers. There's 8 spine crawlers, 8 drones dead, basically. And this base over here barely looks like it will be saved, down to 136 hit points. The spine crawlers he was making at the back, which is not enough to defend. He also had to use a lot of larvae to make those Zerglings that used to defend that's slightly more mobile army. Zest's bank is not in a horrible place either. He's at 1,300 and about 600 gas, but his Nexus is still not even halfway completed.
Yeah, he's just desperately trying to get that fourth base, and SoulKey's been on 4 bases for so long. He built 9 Corruptors, now he's getting +2 to air as well. His ground, he's going to catch out even more Zealots while sending these Locusts over here. This fourth base is just not going to get up. The army of Zest is out of position, is trying to stop this run by over here. They will get it, but, SoulKey did this on purpose.
Exactly.
Draw the army over.
He draws the army away, and then the base is just killed by Locusts. If he actually gets this Nexus started, which he does, he may just lose it again. The Locusts aren't properly rallied, but there are a lot of Zerglings over there. Now, the Mothership is spotted. That's something that's going to make it a little bit easier to defend, but I don't know, man. This is starting to look worse and worse for Zest economy-wise. He's could actually lose his Nexus to this group of Zerglings if the Zerglings target, and they're starting to die. The Mothership core has been restarted, in fact, because the Corruptors are so close by.
Yeah, had to cancel. Now with a bunch of Infestors as well, if he gets a bunch of really good fungals, he could really decimate that army of Zest. These Zealots trying to do more run-bys, but look at how many of the Spine Crawlers are over there now.
Yeah.
SoulKey is just preparing for this. He knows that this is Zest's only chance to get back in the game, and he has the preparations, and he's flying back at home because of this.
Zest is maxed out, but he has no gas bank, and he still doesn't have a fourth base. And so SoulKey can just be content with trading free units against him repeatedly while he builds up his own bank. He already has 2,400 gas in the bank, and he's got 4 bases of his own to work with. Could even consider taking a 5th base over at the right side of the map, just north of his main, because, well, hold that thought, really nice fungals here.
Yeah, really nice fungals onto the big bulk of the army of Zest. But unfortunately, not doing too much damage, basically just shields and a couple of those Infestors being taken out. But, SoulKey has the tank to take that kind of hit. Zest deciding to go for a 4th base over to the left this time. It's going to be maybe a little bit before SoulKey will see that.
Yeah, Mothership core completes transformation into Mothership now. And he's going to, with this, be able to force detection to constantly be present with the army of SoulKey, and not just defensively, but even aggressively. His Locusts aren't going to be able to do damage against targets they can't see, as you can see here, as the Locusts can. And, I mean, really, the decision to take the base to the left side of the map instead of the one on the right is so smart to me, because he's going to be able to both defend that base and attack the base to the bottom left for SoulKey much more easily this way.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. That's a very smart choice here. He gets some static defend over at that 3rd. He's fine for any Locusts that try to come over, and he can just slowly bring his army over here and try to take out this very weakened 4th, SoulKey delayed that 5th base a long time, and, well, this is a little awkward, losing 3 Infestors as well.
Yep. And he's just trying to kill that hatch now. He actually gets it very low, but transfuses to come over to save the day. Meanwhile, the hatchery on the right side of the map is no chance. Not even a cancel there, which actually for SoulKey's lack of mineral bank is slightly alarming. But he's... Oh, look at this. He's actually trying to go for the snipe. I don't know if he realized there were transfuses there. He might still get it. And the Viper helps out as well.
Oh, man. SoulKey actually helping out in the destruction of his own base. But the Locusts are starting to come over to Zest's 4th, and they're, well, the Zerglings are at least going to finish this off. And Zest is really still having trouble getting that 4th off. He is able to kill the 4th of SoulKey and stop the one towards the right. But like we said before, SoulKey's bank and gas at least is pretty good. I'm just really scared for how SoulKey is going to deal with this army of Zest, with the Mothership especially. It's going to be really hard. He's going to have to make a ton of overseers. He can't really harass as well against the army with his swarm hose. It just makes the huge Protoss death ball even scarier to deal with.
Yeah.
And SoulKey's going to need a lot of larva when he goes up against that. He's going to need to remake his army really, really fast, and he needs that bank. Whereas Zest, you know, he can sit on this army for a bit and be okay. He's even adding Tempest as well.
Yeah, he's building a really strong composition. He's getting insanely good air upgrades. He already has the +2 upgrade. He's about to have +3. He already has +1 for shield, so that helps his air as well, which not only factors into his Tempest, but even his Mothership, for example. There's no Vortex in Heart of the Swarm, so he's not going to be able to do anything about those Archons, really, or rather about those Corruptors. I had a flash of the past there for a second. His Void Ray count is high, but there's so many Corruptors plus the Fungals, that's going to be a really big challenge for him. And the Mothership could be grabbed anytime abducted by the Viper. He needs to be careful about that.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. SoulKey was going to try to go in there with that Viper. Here's some pretty nice harass again, the Dark Templars as well as some of those Zealots. Zest putting on a ton of pressure at that fourth base, really forcing SoulKey to play very defensive there and make sure he has that up and running. SoulKey now dropping a 5th base, trying to get that 5th base towards there. If he keeps his army right in this position, he definitely can secure that.
Yep.
I think that's what he wants to do. Try to keep Zest just, you know, cornered at that 4th base over there to the east.
Spinecrawler's being repositioned. Looks like that's his kind of answer for those Zealots that keep throwing themselves at the base to the bottom left. And Locust Waves here getting shut down by all the Colossi, even the Tempest, lonely, trying to poke away here to kill the Overseer to make it so that the Locust can't actually kill anything. They can only attack the probes because the Mothership is not close to those. Nice block here on these Zealots. Yet again, the Zealots not able to go in here and actually finish this base off. The bases at full health, in fact, right now.
Yeah, I mean, that constant harass over there is going to be very annoying, but SoulKey can just keep on rebuilding those Spinecrawlers. The only scary thing is, you know, you look at those Zealots with +1, +1, +3 to attack, and it's really hard. It's really scary to deal with them.
Yeah, it definitely is. And hold that thought. Still not able to get this base, but the Spinecrawler count is getting pretty low. And SoulKey's actually kind of having some trouble, you know, with his bank and minerals. Here we go. This could be the fight that decides everything. SoulKey is just going for it. He goes and targets the Mothership core down. It's gone. And now those Void Rays trying to fight the Corruptors. It doesn't look like there's enough Storms. Archon's trying to help out on the ground, doing so much damage to the Colossus. Will finally fall. Both players drop to 137 supply. And this base is still alive here for Zest. He's actually got Archon support here. Might be able to kill the base of SoulKey now once and for all.
Yeah, actually, Zest is kind of stabilizing here. I mean, he was able to hold off that attack. You know, SoulKey did a very good job killing a lot of those expensive units, but this constant attack over here is forcing SoulKey to use so many of his minerals. And you see how much gas he has. It's a ton, but he just doesn't have the minerals as well. Zest is going to lose that 4th base again.
Yeah, he loses the base, but he has another one to back up onto. And this engagement is looking pretty good for him. But Tempest in the back doing damage. The Archons at the front. There's no ground army here for SoulKey. He needs Locust with us, and he just doesn't have them. This base is no longer even mining. 2 Archons are looking bored, like they don't have anything to do. And here comes the army across the map.
This is really scary. The 4th base of SoulKey to the west is not mining. This one over to the east is not going to be mining right now. After he kills it, the army was able to push back the army of SoulKey, and now he can take this map control, take out this base. SoulKey's got to respond here. He's got to take out some of these army units. Looks like he wants to try here. A missed fungal.
Yep. And ooh, Archon's doing so much damage there. If the Corruptors get even a little bit closer, it's just this is not what you want to have. SoulKey's bank is completely depleted. He barely even has mineral income right now. Archon in the perfect spot here to trade against the Zerlings. And notice that SoulKey's just only able to make 2 infestors right now. That's how low in minerals he is. And the drones all transferred right into the Archon.
That Archon with 11 total health with the shields now that it's regenerating, actually.
That was a bit of a blunder there. I think he thought the Spinecrawler was going to kill it before he had to worry about that. As it turns out, these Archons are actually isolated, though, on the low ground, not helping out. The Corruptors may finally dominate the air. The Archons, though, look ready to change that story. Yeah,
the Archons coming over here, going to do a ton of AoE damage. So many of these Corruptors going down. He was able to take out a bunch of those Void Rays, though.
Yeah, it's just so much AoE in these Archons on the Colossus at the back. Just 2 of them doing their damage. The Swarmos have to leave here. They have to run away. SoulKey is down to 64 supply. It just doesn't look like he has much of a chance in this game, because Zest has that mining base. He's down to 14 drones, and all that Zest really needs to do is just sit back and wait. Losing 2 infestors, he just needs to sit back and wait and then max out and end the game.
Yeah, Zest has a very strong army. I was saying before, it would be so hard to deal with that army. SoulKey tried to go for it, but Zest constant harass at the 4th base, which is so hard to deal with, forcing SoulKey to use a ton of minerals. He has 3,677 gas that he just barely can't even use.
Yeah.
He's losing infestors all over the place. That's a nice one on the 2 Colossi, but, you know, with only 3 Corruptors, it's not going to do much damage.
Exactly. The Overseers start to fall here as well. The Locusts are going to fade away, and then, you know, all we really have left are 10 Swarmos. And, you know, when you have no money, the Swarmos is your best friend because he's going to be able to just give you everything for free. But now he can't even afford another hatchery. He has to long-distance mine, visiting this base potentially as well. This is the disastrous for SoulKey right now. Looking really good for Zest.
Yeah, you guys saw the look on SoulKey's face. He's like, oh man, I can't believe I lost this game.
Yeah, I mean,
this has got to feel so bad for him. He was put in here because SK Telecom had a lot of confidence in him, and he lost a long macro game to a guy like Zest, who, you know, is probably not the best player on KT, but an awesome player at that. But going into this game, I have to say I was expecting SoulKey to win it, but Zest.
Yeah, you know, Zest is he's a solid player. It's just that he was actually not even preparing for this matchup, and he was still able to win it, you know? He prepared for a Protoss versus Protoss against Reign as soon as that was announced. And, you know, he's still showing an all-around awesome PvZ here. And this is really unfortunate for SKT. I said this before, they invest a lot in putting SoulKey out here right now. And I think putting Parting out, personally, I would have liked that choice a lot better. But putting SoulKey out, it feels safe, you know? And you talked about it just a second ago. It seems like he would have been able to do it, but Zest is just tearing him apart right now. And SoulKey only has 1 base that he's long distance mining from right now, and as soon as that base finishes, by the way, he's gonna have basically no minerals left to mine at it because it's almost mined out anyways.
Yeah, and he's got 12 harvesters. Look at this, even the Swarmos getting caught out here. Storm's going down onto them. The GG is called. Zest goes 2-0 against SK Telecom.
Very, very scary place to be right now for SK Telecom. They have lost Reign. They have lost SoulKey. The picks that you would normally expect to see in the later stages. You know, this is when you would like to see Reign come out. You know, normally imagining 2 other players lost. And now they don't have him. And I think that perhaps Parting is your guy here. I thought he would be the guy for Game 2. But if they're not going to send Parting out here right now, who are they going to send? Because I'm a little bit concerned. Like, Classic, is he really the guy you want to send out right now? SoulKey looks crushed.
SoulKey's got to be crushed, man. That's a huge game to lose. He was in control of that game as well, but Zest, I mean, he was just able to build up that huge, super scary army with all the Void Rays. You got to respect them. All of the Colossi, the Mothership as well did a lot to help out.
Insane upgrades.
Yeah,
you know, the shields upgrades, the +3 for air. He had every tool that he needed, and that's what won him that game. And also his harassment was just consistent. SoulKey just never was able to take a 5th base, and without a 5th base, you know, 4 mining bases is decent, but when you keep